Chairman, hundreds of our countrymen have faced criminal charges. Many are serving criminal sentences because they believed what Donald Trump said about the election, and they acted on it.
You know, that line from Liz Cheney's opening statement during today's January 6th committee hearing got me thinking about what exactly is happening with the January 6th rioters. What kind of sentences have they actually gotten? There's been a lot of partisan commentary over how the January 6th defendants are being treated, with some on the left claiming they're being given special treatment, that they're being treated with kid gloves, while many on the right say they're being treated particularly harshly, claiming that the sentences often don't fit the crimes. So, since we like to deal in facts on this show, we thought it would be a good opportunity to take a big picture look at where things stand with the prosecution of the January 6th rioters and how they've been treated and sentenced so far. More than 820 people have been charged in connection with last year's riots at the Capitol. According to the Associated Press, 311 have pled guilty or been convicted of crimes. More than 190 of them have been sentenced so far by a total of 20 judges. Of those sentenced, 83 have been sentenced to jail time. That means 100 people who pled or were convicted have not served time, with 62 being given house arrest, 59 being just fined. According to the AP, in general, the 20 judges who have sentenced Capitol riot defendants have generally handed down lighter sentences than what prosecutors were looking for, including in felony cases. But that in about 10% of the cases, just 10, judges have handed down harsher penalties than those sought by prosecutors. Now, to make sure we're getting all this data right, let's go to the Washington Post, updated today. They say in 141 of the cases that have been sentenced so far, judges handed down less severe penalties than what the government sought. In 20 cases, they said judges handed down harsher sentences than what prosecutors had recommended, with 30 with exactly the sentences that the government was asking for. So bottom line, it seems clear that on the whole, prosecutors have been asking for more time, and judges in the end have been giving less than what was being asked for. But there's one judge in particular who's been more inclined to ignore the sentencing recommendations and hand down even harsher penalties than those being asked for by the government. According to the AP, District Judge Tanya Chutkan, who was nominated to the bench by President Barack Obama, has sent all 11 January 6 defendants that have come before her to jail, even though the vast majority involved defendants who had just illegally demonstrated in a Capitol building, which is a misdemeanor. In 7 cases, she handed out sentences that were in excess of what the Department of Justice sought. In 4 cases, she sentenced people to jail time despite prosecutors not even asking for it. In one particular case, Judge Chutkan sentenced an Indiana woman to 14 days in jail after she pled guilty to a misdemeanor offense for parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building. A friend of the woman's also pled guilty to essentially the same crime, was sentenced to probation by a different judge. Now, prosecutors did not seek jail time for either woman. Neither of them have criminal records. Now, I've said before that I want to see tough sentences for anyone engaged in serious property damage, and that the book should be thrown at anyone who attacked a police officer. But I don't believe that the people who just get convicted of the Class B misdemeanor of demonstrating or picketing in the Capitol building should be getting real jail time. Feels like overkill. Does depend on the facts, but joining me now is someone who's been studying these numbers very closely, Washington Post criminal justice reporter Tom Jackman. He's crunched all the numbers, and former federal prosecutor Ankush Khardori. Thanks to both of you, appreciate it. All right, so Tom, how tough have the punishments been for the average defendant charged with a misdemeanor in connection with January 6th?
The average misdemeanor time is 44 days. And those are almost all for parading, a misdemeanor, parading on, the Capitol grounds. And I guess you would say that that's too much. There are a number of people that didn't get any jail time, but the average is 44 for the misdemeanors. And then for the felonies, which are assault on the police, destruction of government property, civil disorder, the average has been 27 months. With a high of 63 months to one guy who threw a fire extinguisher at the police. And just recently we had somebody who got 1 month for civil disorder. So 27 months for felonies, 44 days for misdemeanors.
All right, so Ankush, let's put aside the felonies for a second, because the felonies are going to vary significantly based on the actions. There are basically, two types of misdemeanors that have been considered here. One is a sort of Class B misdemeanor, one's a Class A misdemeanor. But does it not seem to you like a tough sentence, 45 days on average, for the Class B misdemeanor here of parading and picketing?
As you indicated, it's really hard to judge like a particular sentence based on, sort of an abstract discussion without knowing the particular facts of the cases. All these sentences are supposed to be individualized and crafted according to the specifics. Of course, a lot of these people, however, did largely the same thing. I'm not sure that it's overkill necessarily. I think this is a difficult issue. I think that the government has generally been, in its charging decisions, pretty fair. But I think its sentencing recommendations, as one judge has described them, have been schizophrenic. Right. And I think it's been pretty hard, frankly, for these judges to get any kind of sense of logic to the charge.
But it's so I think it's so important. It may be one of the most important cases ever to have some level of consistency across the board with regard to these kinds of sentences.
Well, Dan, the government has been filing charts with almost every one of their sentencing memorandums pointing out what the sentences have been for the various charges. With every sentencing memo, there's about a 15-page chart that lists what the sentences have been so far. Yep. And I should note that of the 172 misdemeanor sentences, only 68 have resulted in time. So 68 of the 172 is 39%. Those are the ones that have gotten the 44 days.
Right.
And other people have gotten home detention or probation.
Right. That's critical, right? I went through this. We were going back and forth all day today on trying to figure out these numbers. And
you're a tough taskmaster.
I'm sorry. No, but I really wanted to understand it because the point you just made is critical, which is the average of 44 days doesn't include all the people who got no time at all. And, right. and more than half of the people got no time at all. And that's right. A really important point to make. Real quick, Tom, were there any people charged with misdemeanors who were held without bail? There's a lot of misinformation out there about who was held without bail. Initially,
there were a few. And in fact, there were some who were held for 6 months. But that has ended. There's nobody in jail now for a misdemeanor.
And Ankush, what about that in the initial days, holding people without bail charged with misdemeanors? I guess it depends on their other criminal records, et cetera?
Yeah, it depends on the other criminal records. Although all things equal, it's not, to my mind, a particularly good use of government resources unless you have a real issue with prior criminal history, a recidivism question, or like some concern that while they're out on bail, they'll try to flee. I mean, that's the real principal concern about bail in pretrial detention, and I think it's kind of used too aggressively. Is it's supposed to ensure that people are present for their court hearings.
And if you have that on that, Dan, which is that of the 800 people charged, 104 had been detained at one point. And we think that a much lower level number, something like 30 or 40, are being held now.
Right, but all the people who are being held now are being held because of felonies.
Felonies, correct. Right.
So let's be clear on that. Look, this is complicated stuff. Tom, thank you for your help on trying to put all this stuff together. I think that getting accurate information about this stuff is critical, but unfortunately, I know the answers aren't going to be particularly satisfying to a lot of people because it's a little bit all over the place. Tom,
Jack. One thing that needs to be pointed out is that there's still 600 plus people that haven't been sentenced, and those are the heavy hitters, and we haven't really seen those yet.
Yep, we shall see. So let's not make premature judgments at this point. Tom Jackman and Ankush Kardori, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.